who are very sort of casual about the way they think. I'm just glad that the Creators Pod is such a well-oiled broadcast machine.
Right?
Well, it's the end of March, so that seems like a great time to have a review of our Q1 of 2023. So let's get straight into it. Michelle, how have things been going for you so far this year?
Well, I've done quite a bit, and it's been fun because I had a different take on how I stream, and I've done quite a bit. Like 2 months out of the 3 months, I had like daily content, and I've seen some significant growth. I've seen significant engagement, which I haven't had before. So that's a plus. We're working on revenue. So, I think it takes a while for that to kind of build. So I think it's a move in the right direction because I did one of my first collabs this quarter, and it was awesome. And I've learned so much in those last 3 months. So
tell us a bit more about the collab. What was that? What was that
my
about?
Gosh.
Leading question.
Sure. So, what had happened was I got a chance to interview my Canva idols, and, they're a pretty big freaking deal in the Canva community because they're Canva experts. And we're in this special group, and we had an opportunity to ask, some burning questions and, talk to some of the folks who are leading in that community. And I felt like I had the golden ticket and had an opportunity to interview them. And it was so delightful. And, they're the sweetest people. It was interesting for me because I had to learn, time zone things. Not like we weren't doing it already because, we got like all kind of time zones in this little pod. But it was interesting, being able to, work through the logistics of that and, and doing it professionally. So that was very, very, very good for me. And now I have another opportunity coming up actually next week where I'm speaking in a AI conference. So, I'm growing. I am definitely growing. I didn't do this 2 years ago. I didn't do this last year. I didn't do this 3 months ago. So, this has been a wonderful quarter for me so far.
Nice. Tell us about the AI thing. That's obviously a bit of a hot topic at the moment. So what's that all about?
Well, the conference is called Women Who AI Summit 2023. I happen to be one of 15 people talking. There are going to be a few CEOs of some of those big tech giants talking, and some titans in the industry, I guess female titans in the industry that put out content all the time. So I get a chance to rub shoulders with them and, be in their presence and this kind of like commune in their community. So there's a Facebook group. There's we're doing the media campaign now. I'm going to start posting some things on my channel. So, so you'll be invited. It's free, so you can come in and see. But of course, each one of the speakers has something that you're plugging. So, you get a chance to kind of talk about the future of AI, what's happening now, how we're using it, don't be scared of it, that kind of thing, embrace it. And really, just kind of talk about how we use it in our everyday lives and how we use it to affect change in all of our multiple industries. So, it's going to be a great conversation over a week. So I think it's going to be like next week. So, I'll drop a link in the description so you guys can come check it out.
And you mentioned about like looking at the analytics and seeing how things have been growing and so on. How have you seen any sort of changes or anything like that in the the performance of different video types or anything like that? What have your conclusions so far for this quarter? Have you gained any insights from that so far?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. I might be looking at it too early. However, the cadence in which I put out content, significantly changed for me this quarter. I really started putting out quite a bit of stuff. So there were like 2 months where I'm doing something daily, and I kind of fell behind this month a little bit, but I noticed, an increase in engagement, an increase in watch time. Oh, and I passed 1,000 watch hours for the first time ever. Yay. I'm so excited. So,
Nice.
so yes. So, things are growing. I mean, they're slow, but they're growing. I noticed that, I'm having more engagement, and that to me is worth it, because it means that I'm resonating with people. People are resonating with my message, and we're having conversations. And so now the goal would be to kind of take that a step deeper, to where I can have a little bit, to increase the engagement that I'm having on the main platform that I really want to be on. I am kind of sprinkling things, on other platforms as well. Not doing such a great job at that, but I want to be able to automate that a little bit more, so that it's not so taxing. But so far, so good. My watch time is going up. My engagement is going up. Subscriber count, very slow, but it's going up. So, so that's a good thing. So
Cool stuff. And Dina, how about you in terms of looking at how things have shifted? I know we were talking just the other day about you're noticing sort of a slight shift in sort of focus of things. What's your sort of view on that?
It's actually where I wanted to start in the very beginning. Before I started the channel, I was thinking gardening, and as you all know, I kind of flip-flop back and forth and kind of landed on that the cooking stream. But my gardening content is hitting more, and I've seen. Let's see, in this first quarter, I had a 30% increase in subscriptions over what I did in 2022.
Oh, cool.
And let's just be honest, what did I do? I think I've released 3 videos this calendar year. Life kind of took a bit of a turn for me, and I am responding the best way I know how and trying to hunker down and, take care of my family. And so this has taken a back burner, but it's also given me an opportunity to kind of stop and look at where I was spinning my wheels before, and listen to what I'm hearing from friends who are watching the content, and, if there's any comments from people I don't know. And I think the gardening is where it's at for me. So let's see, just kind of by the numbers, I've crossed 2,000 watch hours now. I've got 63K, this is lifetime, 63K views. So, I'm feeling pretty good about having taken the break and easing back in slowly. I fully suspect that there will be a little bit of backlash because of that. Not negative, but just I don't expect everyone to be there all the time like we were before. But I'm happy with the opportunity that I've had to just step back and really decide where I want to go next. So look for more gardening from me.
Yeah, it's cool to have that sort of perspective. I mean, I had something similar last year when I sort of took a step back from things a little bit, or was sort of forced into focusing on other things. And then it's funny how things like that, when you come back and like almost regroup and take a fresh look at things, you can come with a fresh perspective that you don't do if you're just doing the same thing over and over again. So yeah, it's cool that you've had that sort of realization, and it's also happens to be the thing that you wanted to do from the outset as well. So that's cool. And right. Side benefit, you get your kitchen back.
Yeah, I think I might get my kitchen back, though. I'm not going to take everything down immediately. I do enjoy doing that with the community, so having it there, but I'm viewing all of this studio equipment with a little less pressure.
Right.
I think that just helps the mind shift. And after we talked about that last week, I've already felt felt better about just being in this space and not feeling the pressure to, create something in the kitchen. I can actually cook a chicken without feeling guilty for not
recording it.
Not recording it, exactly.
Yeah. Everything is content except when you just want to eat. It doesn't have to all be content.
Yeah. When I don't want to put on a clean shirt.
Yeah. Cool. And how about you, Keely? I know that you've had a lot of new developments and things that have come into your schedule over the past 3 months specifically. But how's that all been going, and where is it compared to where you expected to be?
I'm completely not where I expected to be, and I'm starting to realize that there's a pattern to this, and it might be my fault that when I try to make a plan, and we've been talking over the last few months how I've really dove in full force, or as full force as I can do, into the full focus planner and trying to set out, okay, here are my annual goals and my quarterly preview and my weekly things. And when I'm doing those things, I feel much more in control. I feel like I'm planning. But the problem is that I don't stick to what my plan is, because as I realized, as I was thinking about what I was going to say today, it's because I don't say no, and I don't have a clear vision on the things that I really should be bearing down on and double clicking on in order to make money in my two businesses. So, for example, I did that guest spot on Office Hours on December 26th, and it was really great and it went really well. And that community embraced me and was like, hi, get in my van. We need you to be a part of this whole thing. And let's work you into being a question reader and a host and a panelist. And I've been doing that, and it's been just amazing experience. It's been so good. I've gotten so much better at speaking. I feel much more confident on camera and able to, but what a freak load of time that I'm giving up to doing that. And over the last week, you guys know I've had some things that have interrupted my ability to do that. And I'm like, wow, I've got 3 hours on several mornings a week now back. That's kind of cool. And I'm focusing on the things that are actually making me money. And I've been sending invoices out on things. And I'm like, wow, this is fun. I should probably make a habit of this. So my sort of quarterly progress has been, some really amazing things have happened. This, on the FH Umpire side, getting handed the EHCO trophy tournament over in Amsterdam to run that as the umpire manager. And it looks like I'm going to be running it as a technical director too, in a lot of respects. No offense, Fabrizio. I didn't think about how much planning I needed to do in this quarter to get ready for something that's happening right at the beginning of the next quarter, which is kind of why quarters kind of suck, because it's an artificial definition that probably didn't help me. But that was a big change of plan. But that's going to yield some incredible things. I need to be better at making my revenue plan. Like, these are the things that are actually going to push my needle in the right direction revenue-wise, and the other stuff can take a back seat, and I can stop getting derailed just because it seems like it's going to be fun or skill building or a great learning experience or even great marketing. I have to make great money. And that's where I've realized, evaluating my quarter, that's what I've fallen down on, and probably what I've fallen down on all my life. And I'm tired of it. So, hi, this is quarter two starting. Everything is going to be different. And if I have to pay out of my, line of credit for, more guidance that's going to be ruthless on the business side, that's what I'm going to need to do. So that's my quarter. Any questions? Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Sorry, Rich. Sorry.
I was waiting for Rich to drop his head.
Yeah. Just happened.
And how about the actual experience, though? Because obviously that immersive experience of being a part of Office Hours, I mean, that's a really highly focused on, obviously, the technical side of audio, video production. What's so far with that? Obviously, I know you're still going to be involved in it going forward as well. But what's out of that month? What has, or out of this quarter? What has been your biggest takeaway from that? You know, the actual learnings that you've had from that, as well as the exposure side of it. You know.
Yeah, the discipline of timing and how to present a product that is going to look fine-tuned and actually look like a broadcast. I think as live streamers, we come from this culture where it's like, hey, live happens and it's cash and everything's fine. And there's a lot of room for that in the world, but there's also room for building the skills where things happen on schedule and this is sharp and this is sharp. And if one of my big fat hairy goals is to be a commentator on an international hockey match someday, I need to understand all that. And that's sort of what those skills for me and that experience I hope is building towards. And that's why I still want to do it. I just have to set much better boundaries around my time so that is accorded the right amount of time that leaves more time for making money because that's important. So yeah, that's been a big part of it. It is a very different world from what we're used to in the creator communities, and just that sort of, you know, often frequent slaps in the face as to the quality of how I'm presenting or what my audio's like or my timing's like or how I'm speaking words has been really great. And so it's not that I've wasted any of my time. It's just that I haven't used my time to the best of my ability.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, I know that there's some live streamers who are very sort of casual about the way they think. I'm just glad that the Creators Pod is such a well-oiled broadcast machine.
Right?
Rich, how about you? How's Q1 been for you?
It's been busy, but I'm glad I found my guy. I'm glad I found Sam in the Philippines to help me crank out some of this stuff. I've spit out
that's been going so awesome.
Almost 300 posts since the beginning, so it's cool because I haven't.
Wow.
Before that, I wasn't doing it, so it's just a whole lot of content. And you know, again, I don't know if it's doing anything, but you know, 75,000 impressions. You know, I don't know. It's good. I mean, I've got sales, but sales don't really account for any of it, or I don't think any of it comes from that social stuff, but from the content stuff. But you know, sales are about on track as to what they were last year, and everything's better than it was, you know, post 2020, 2021. So we're out of that. Whatever that happened there, we're out of that. So, so now I just need to figure out how to keep doing the content more and not see. I think if I take myself out of it more, because I still have my fingers in it a lot. If I can figure out some way to get somebody else to manage everything, then I could focus more on actual sales. You know, I'm a control freak, so I want to stay involved. And I don't trust anybody to put stuff out and that kind of stuff. I want to be the guy that pushes the button. But that's on me.
On the content side of stuff, is that you mean?
Yeah. I don't want to be. It's hard to let it go. Well, just like you don't want to let people just have access to your accounts and.
Of course, yeah, sure.
Start posting stuff. So, but anyway, but that's my hang up. So once I figure out how to do that, because I know there's big giant companies with social media managers that let them go wild, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it bites you in the ass. So you got to be careful.
So with the content that your guys are creating for you, I mean, they all look awesome, and I told you before that I didn't notice the transition between you doing it and them. So it's, you know, it was pretty seamless, and they're producing the same level of stuff. So is it still you that's sort of manually posting all that, or at least scheduling it?
I schedule. He sends those to me one at a time. We record on Thursday, and he gets the files on Friday. And then he starts sending me stuff on Sunday, and then I start putting it up as it happens, and it automatically goes up to all the platforms.
And is there any, like, do you ever reject any of them, or is it pretty much he's just sending them through and you're putting them up? I guess the point I'm getting to is
there's changes. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's too short, or he's got a word wrong, or I don't like him having this thing in here, or he mentions a date and the date's already passed, that kind of thing. And sometimes that happens. We'll talk about something on a Thursday that's happening on a Friday. So by Sunday, you don't really need to say it's happening on Friday because it's Friday's past. So we can take that part out. But things like that, I mean, that's nitpicky stuff. But that's easy to do, though. We use Frame to do the back and forth, Frame.io. So it's pretty simple because I can make a comment at a certain timestamp, and he knows exactly where to go to look at it to edit it. So it works out really nice.
How about you then, Rob? How have things been going for you so far this quarter in a content creation point of view?
Last night I baked a chicken and I did not film it, so there's that. We'll start with that. Mm-hmm. I didn't feel like I needed to. Not that I knew what I could do with it. Juggling chainsaws is the best way I can describe it. In my day job, I finally convinced my boss to allow me to do more social media. And that's a matter of creating the posts, and I created over 300 posts myself. But those posts are scheduled within HubSpot to drop over the next year. And, there's two things involved with that. That's sales as well as physician recruiting. So I got, getting to do that. So in my real life job, it's been very busy, and I've, my sales are doing very well. So, that part of my life is less stressful and allowing me to do other things. We've talked before that I'm working, in consulting specific to my industry, and I'm working with a friend, and that too is I've, been doing a lot of IT work to get social media and other things up to build the infrastructure for that. And that's talking to a lot of people. And then there's the campaign consulting things. There's people have started to file, and I've been sitting down and meeting with people and teaching them how to file for office, and teaching them all the different things that they need to do to raise money online, their messaging and things like that. So creatively, I'm very busy, but I'm not doing my sole mission of Disney stuff. And I've started to ask myself whether that's really even realistic anymore. That maybe I should just shut it down, sell it, and be the Disney fan and focus in on what makes the money, so that I can go to Disney more often, instead of worrying about helping other people get there. Because, honestly, if you look at it long term, I'd have more fun with more money traveling on my own. Let's be honest. But I think in the big picture, I've been very productive in the different projects that I'm working on, and some very exciting things are happening in the future with that private consulting project with telemedicine. But, I'll be honest with, if you would have asked me the same question 90 days ago about what I would expect to be doing, things changed the end of January. Something happened with a friend, and it gave me the opportunity to go down a road that I've been wanting to go down for 10 years. And so now I have to sit and make decisions, and I'm perfectly comfortable making that change in my life. But it definitely will mean that what I wanted to do for fun and what I'm doing for work, which is still fun, are two different things. And I'm probably going to be shifting over majorly. And so if anybody wants to buy a whole social channel related to Disney, I'm your man.
It's interesting that like a number of us have had these sort of things where something's happened that has caused us to shift our direction slightly, and I think that's an important point. Really, it is all very well setting goals and short, medium, and long term goals and things like that, but you do have to be prepared for these things that maybe come out of the blue that you're not expecting, and then kind of pivot maybe and go off in a maybe a slightly different direction to the one that you're intending. But just know that sometimes that actually can end up being something for the best. So sometimes it is in the moment hard to square up, something that's happened. But then, it's very easy to sort of look back after the fact and realize that, things that happened in the past, I've had the same with me, things that have happened in the past that seemed, quite bad at the time. But when I look back now and think, well, if that hadn't happened, then I wouldn't have done X, Y, and Z after the fact. So it's just a really, really thing to be conscious of and not get too bogged down in actually not sticking to goals and things like that.
Yeah, I don't think anything is bad, and I still get to play with my cameras and the computers and Adobe Cloud, Adobe Creative Cloud, and things like that. I still get to do it. I'm just doing it for other purposes. So, one of my joys is just kicking back in my recliner and working on Adobe Illustrator, and that hasn't gone away. So, definitely what I wanted to do 3, 6, 12 months ago and what I can do or should do now are two entirely different things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know from all the stuff you've been doing, still putting your creative flair, and that's been applied to everything, from, creating campaign posters to all the stuff you're doing with this new company and all that sort of stuff. So it's all the same thing really at the end of the day, isn't it?
Right.
I mean, yes. for me, for this quarter, if I think back to the first one we did, plans for the year, one of the things that I was talking about was, I've got this content plan. I'm going to be putting out this content on all these different platforms. And the idea I had at the time was that I was going to do that for 6 months and then stop it and then see if that was really having any effect. I kind of are using the excuse that I've decided to reverse that, i.e. I've not been following through with my content plan for the first quarter. And in fact, looking through my YouTube channel, I've only really been doing live streams. I haven't put any recorded videos out at all this year. And I certainly haven't been cross-posting and posting shorts and all this stuff to these other channels. So I can certainly say that if that was on the agenda, I've totally failed at it for this quarter. But the other thing that was really big for me was wanting to get my the academy out, the Take One Tech Academy, and that's something that I was intending to do towards the end of last year. So I have finally launched that, which is sort of a bit of a milestone for me. The other thing that happened though this quarter was I took a family holiday, and it kind of came out of the blue. We had to go down to Bangkok for a couple of meetings, and then thought, well, why don't we just all go down, take the family down, and then go off for a couple of weeks. And normally I'm the sort of person that I'm not someone who can sort of sit still on holiday, so not the sort of person who would just sort of sit on a beach for 2 weeks doing nothing. But that is exactly pretty much what I did. I just spent the time with my family. I didn't really take my laptop out to do any work or anything, despite the fact that I took it thinking that I might well do. But that actually gave me a bit of a different perspective, and to really sort of value that time that I had with my family. And it sort of fed into, after the fact, the way that I'm viewing like how much time I want to be actually spending, not just on Take One Tech, but on work in general. I can tend to sort of work long hours sometimes if I'm just left to it, because I really enjoy what I'm doing. But yeah, losing sort of sight perhaps of how much better it is to just be spending time without thinking about work with family was a bit of a revelation that's been a long time coming for me. And I'm just glad that I inadvertently had that opportunity to wake myself up a little bit to that thing. Apart from that, the YouTube channel has had sort of steady growth over the past quarter.
I was going to ask you about that. If the fact that you slowed down on doing your social stuff and making videos and all that, has that not affected you? You don't think?
I can't say that it hasn't affected me, because the rate of growth might have been higher. But it's still been pretty consistent. I'm sort of still riding off the back of quite a big body of videos that are there from before. I definitely need to be starting to do more of those. I do intend to get back to 2 or 3 videos a week in addition to the live streams. So that is the plan for, let me just say, Q2, and then we'll review that at the end of the 6 months' time. But it's hard to say. I think that probably the growth would have been more if I'd been posting regular videos, because I do see as soon as I do post something that I will get, obviously, more viewers. Not new viewers necessarily, but existing subscribers watching the new stuff. So my views undoubtedly have actually suffered as a result. But the overall growth hasn't necessarily hasn't slowed down, but it maybe isn't as fast as it could have been.
You did cross a big number last week or the week before, so that was cool.
So that was 5,000 subs, which is is another little milestone on the way. So it's nice to pass that.
You're the king of the pod so far.
The other thing that I did, I suppose, this month as well, which was I did really enjoy, was I did something on the Ecamm channel. So I did an Ecamm Advanced thing, which was a week-long thing, and then a Zoom session the following Monday, but all about using the advanced features of Ecamm. And that was actually a really nice thing to do, because I to get some sort of feedback in terms of live feedback, I should say, from people outside of my normal audience on YouTube. It was nice to have that, and I actually really enjoyed doing the Zoom workshop the following Monday, because then you actually get to put faces and names to or faces and voices to all the names that you're seeing up, coming up in the chat. So to have that was really sort of rewarding thing to do, actually, from a personal perspective. I really enjoyed that.
I'm going to speak for the entire pod that, first of all, congratulations on your milestones, but we are all very assured that you have shown yourself to be very human this quarter. So thank you for that. And because you feel like you failed on fulfilling your quarter 2 mission and completely pivoted. And I'm like, oh, one of us. Good job, Alec. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I think that's important, though, because I think it's very easy to look for, look at what people are, for people to just see what they're seeing and assume that is, the way it was intended to be or something. Whereas they don't see, from my perspective or your perspective or anyone else's perspective, what you actually intended to do versus what actually happened. So it's very easy to see something and think like, oh, that seems to be going great. But if you've got a different idea of how it was going to go yourself, then maybe people aren't getting the full picture. So yeah, that's why I like doing these sort of reviews as well. And I put everything out on the table as we all did at the beginning of the year, and then now here we all are, pretty much all saying in some way or other we've pivoted or something's happened. So yeah, it's all good. Speaking of which, let's make some predictions then for the rest of the next quarter, and I can gauge how I've failed.
Well, hang on, we're not through with the recap. Our pod, I just wanted to give you some numbers on the pod. That in the last 90 days we've had 448 downloads, and we've had 162 unique listeners. So that's it. That's all I wanted to add. So that's it.
Nice. Yeah, how foolish of me to forget our own thing. This thing we're doing right now.
So anybody out there want a brand deal? You got it. We got eyeballs over here. So.
And speaking of which, since we have started down this road, how do you feel that the Creators Pod in general has been going, and Catch-22 in the past 3 months? We should probably review that as well whilst we're here. Or should we not?
Okay, I'll go, because what I think this is sort of... we're trying to present conversations that we're having as a pod and just sort of give you some insight on how we sort of work together. And when I say you, I mean the audience, and we as in the pod. And I think we're still working on how we do that as sort of a formula. But what I really appreciate about even just sitting down for these podcast recordings is how much thought I have to put into my answers about things like this question. And this was really actually quite a catalyst. I think it will be a catalyst for me, just having to think, oh yeah, I have to account to my productivity group, my creator friends here, what I've been up to for this last quarter. And it's my own CDJ. Like I'm not happy with this, and I need to take another direction. And I know you guys are going to keep the fire under me. So
Keely, what's a CDJ?
Come to Jesus. Sorry. Which is, okay. It's just my
Canadian code.
It's an atheist colloquial expression for, you're in real trouble, and I'm going to lay down the rules for you. Yeah, sorry about that. So it just gives me, I really appreciate this opportunity to record these episodes with you guys, because I have to account. These are our summaries of all the often meandering conversations we have together. And I got to sum it up and say something true and productive out of all of that. And yeah, I mean, thank you guys for that opportunity. And I think we're going to keep carrying it forward into the next quarter with me doing better on things.
What she said, I'll agree with that.
With us all doing better on things, I agree with all that as well. So I guess then, looking forward to Q2. How about you, Michelle? What's your plans for the next 3 months? Or do you even actually split it down into 3 months? Obviously, Keely talked about this being just totally arbitrary. Do you actually think in quarters, or do you just have some overarching goals, and then everything will fit in as it needs to?
I have overarching goals. However, I kind of split it down month by month. So my plan moving forward would be to put more educational content out around Canva, because I love Canva this month. So this upcoming month. So that's going to be the theme for this month. I kind of have each month there's a theme. And so the theme for this upcoming month will be Canva. And I want to put out a couple more courses in the process. So some of the things that I did this past quarter, I'm trying to figure out how I want to put it out. So not everything is course worthy, like, I'm going to come and buy a course and do something. It might be an email thing, might be a email sequence that, you get something every day or whatever the cadence is for that. So I'm kind of like milling over the idea, for some of the content that I'm creating, and then also trying to figure out how to, just how to curate more content and do it more efficiently. So what this past quarter taught me was that I can do it, because I've put out the most content that I have in the last 3 months. And the number, I'm looking at my analytic numbers, and I can definitely see a difference with the particular cadence that I have. So I don't know. I'm just going to go month by month, and put some things down on paper, just kind of try to plan it out. You know me, I'm going to put a Trello board. I already have a Trello board up. Okay. Who are we kidding? So I already have a couple of boards down, and I just kind of want to plan it out and then see how I can continue to work and put out as much content as I am putting out, and maybe get better at like some of the other social platforms. However, those are feeder platforms to my YouTube. So I don't know. I've got a lot of thinking to do, but I pretty much already know what I'm doing next month. And that's kind of where my focus is.
Nice. And how about you, Dina? What's the focus? I mean, we've already sort of touched on it, I suppose, so far, but what's the sort of focus for you the next 3 months?
I have some higher priority personal things to take care of. So as far as creating, I would say get back in the saddle.
Mm-hmm. Cool stuff. And more of the gardening. What's happening in the garden at this time? Have you got lots of at this time of year, lots of new things going on in there that you're going to be documenting?
I did shoot a video on planting peas. I just need to edit that, and then probably in the next week I'll get some potatoes in the ground. So that's kind of what's coming up next.
Cool stuff. Springtime content.
Yeah, there's a lot to be done.
Uh-huh. And how about you, Keely? What's the plan for the next 3 months for you? You've already touched on it a little bit as well, but what would you say your goals are for this quarter?
Yeah, well, it's going to be an interesting quarter because I'm going to be spending 17 days on the road doing FH Umpire stuff over in the UK and the Netherlands. And that trip is going to be probably the most intense 17 days that I've spent outside the Tokyo Olympics that almost killed me. So I'm planning that when that is over, I need to take time. And no matter what, I just have to block off my calendar for a week to actually rest. And then I'll be evaluating what are the things that I can do with both of my businesses to really hone on what are the things that matter. So Discord Coach has been very interesting. You guys know I rebranded recently. And I mean, it's worked. I get cold calls with zero social media presence, no posts going out, but people just find my channel because they're looking for coaching in Discord. So I think that is giving me a really nice indicator. And when I've worked with the people who have contacted me, I'm like, Yeah, I like this part. I like this part about actually consulting with somebody to train them on how they can use Discord in their business. So I've already got ideas brewing there. And then with FH Umpires, the signals are becoming, really clear as to what I'm going to move forward in. But I'm going to need to take a week off after I get back, take a week to plan as if it's like Christmas. You remember when we all took time before January and we were like, let's plan. That's what I have to do again. And it's got to be really hardcore. So my quarter is going to be shorter, but given how inefficient my quarters usually are, I'm anticipating it's going to be a lot more fruitful in terms of real execution on what matters. So that is sort of my plan for the next quarter. Revenue generating opportunities, number one slot, and F the rest.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned about the Discord coach thing. I was forgetting that was a Q1 thing, wasn't it? The pivot from Discord creators to Discord coach, and an absolutely genius move.
Yeah, by sheer accident. And again, good opportunity, but was it really? Yeah, it's going to pay off in the long term, but it just seems to me like another example of me taking a signal, jumping on an opportunity, saying yes to something that maybe I didn't have to say yes to in that moment. Maybe I could have been a little more deliberate about all the things. So I might have a bias for action, but I have a real bias for reaction that maybe could use a little more contemplation. So, I'm not going to regret that choice, but
that wasn't luck at all. That was somebody, yourself, seeing something and having a realization. And, obviously Discord for creators is the reason why it came out of that was obviously we're in our creator community. Doc was just setting up his creator server, and then so was everyone else. So it seemed totally logical that, Discord for creators. But then as you've gone through and you've realized that actually what you're doing is you're coaching people, and changing the name, I think was a really inspired move actually. And, as you say, people are now finding you because that's what they're looking for. They maybe aren't creators themselves as such, but they're looking for a Discord coach, and you are the Discord coach. So I think,
Keely, if you would have
a great move,
if you would have stopped to think about it, you might not have ever done it. If you'd have been thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking. So I think it's better the way you did it. You did it the way you did.
Yeah, definitely.
I appreciate that. Consider how you're enabling my my tendency to jump on new projects, though. Just remember, there's a monster inside of this body, and you can't let it out. But thank you. I need you guys to help temper me, though, and make sure that when I decide to try to do one of these things, that you go, is that going to really further what you needed to do? So yes, Discord coach probably did, but maybe some of the other things that I've done isn't furthering me the way that I need to be furthered. So thank you, Peas, in advance.
Okay, so Rich, how about you? What's the plan for the next 3 months? And is this something that you do, by the way? Do you think in terms of quarters or not?
No, I don't. I think in weeks and days. I don't think in quarters or months. I do at the end of the month. I say, how do we do this month? But I don't plan for a month. Every day I make at least 10 or 15 outbound sales calls to try to initiate something. That's basically my goal every day, and then react to everything that comes in. The content creation stuff, I do that when I can fit it in, but it's not a priority. And that's why I need to have help doing it. So I don't have to do this stuff for 20 hours a day. But as far as just, I get up every day and just have to make 10 calls, and that's exactly what I do. Whether it's sending emails or follow-ups or reorder reminders or how did we do last week or whatever to somebody, that kind of thing. So that's really the goal. If I do that, I'm okay. If I can sell 10 grand a week, I can survive. And we've been doing that for 10, 15 years now. So I don't know how to make it any better. I haven't been able to bump that number up. There's guys like me that do 3 times the money and 4 times the money, and I don't know how they do it. So, but I have recently gone up on my minimum order, so I don't take $100 orders anymore. Now we're up to 300. So if somebody calls and wants to do something half-assed, there's other people that'll do that. I don't do that anymore. So.
How much does it cost to go whole ass?
It costs $300 to go whole ass.
Whole ass.
You have to really want to. Okay. You have to be serious, man. You get people that have a side hustle that want to pass out $50 worth of calendars. I don't have time to be jerked around like that. I mean, that's people can do that. There are places for that. 4imprint.com. Go get it. You can yank their chain all day long, not mine. So.
Oh, I know. As a person who purchases promotional products as well, as people who I know, yeah, I get it.
Well, you're one of the nickel and dime guys that goes to Alibaba and buys them direct from the Chinese. So
for my Disney thing, I did. Yeah, but that was actually fun because I got to design stuff. And but am I going to do it again? No. But
I don't know. Keely's falling off her chair.
I know. That's because it's
tough love in this group is just
You forget I can edit all this out, so it doesn't matter to me.
What about you, Rob? How about your Q2 goals? And what about you? Do you actually think about things in quarters as well? Since we're asking everyone that.
My in real life job is we're not to that level. We just annually we're looking for a dollar amount annually, and I've already actually made my sales goal for the year. So there's that. But I don't so I don't have to worry about it. I measure things by month. My big goal, calendar, date, deadline is August 1st at this particular point in time. So I don't, I'm not going to look at it, what's going to happen to me by the end of, July or June 30 or whatever. I'm targeting August 1 to be fully up and running with a partner on a project. And that's the important thing. So I've got 5 months. I've already been working a month and a half on it. And, if hopefully we can cross the finish line and get this thing going by August 1st, because that's a deadline for him. It's a deadline that I've imposed upon me to make sure that I can stay accountable to him and his family, their friends. So August 1st is really, that date, but there's so many other deadlines that come and go in my life that I have to juggle. And that's, again, I use the term juggling chainsaws. I'm just hyper-focused right now on this one project on August 1st.
Cool. Well, from my point of view, I do look at the quarters, and my task management system, I guess. I'll be doing a review every day, but then I'll also do a weekly review and a monthly review, and then a quarterly. And it's only it does sort of motivate me to a certain point. If there's something that I've said, I really want to get this done by this quarter. And although it's only, arbitrary, it's just in my head. Sometimes it does help me to, do that extra little push to just tick that little box. I'm a sucker for ticking things off a list. So if it's on the list and I don't tick it off, I kind of feel like, I've failed at that. So that's why I do quite like having things split into quarters as well. In terms of my plans for this quarter, really getting the Academy launched was great, but a part of it is this flow of new courses that has been added into it. And I'm not going to keep up this pace forever with it, but I want to build it out to a sort of large body of work, basically. So at the moment, there's the 3 masterclasses that I've already got, but then I have made my sort of release schedule for all the other courses. So I've got 8 masterclasses, and then of which I've already released 3, 8 beginner's guides as well. And then there is 4 cohort courses that are going to be running basically one every month. So for the next 3 months, I will be running 1 cohort course every month. I've also got 10 courses, 7 beginner's guides, and 3 masterclasses to release. So I'm just putting that out there so that I've got full accountability of everyone else, not just you, as to that is what I'm aiming to achieve, and that's what I've sort of made public about the Academy. So the beginner's guides are not anywhere near as big, obviously, as a masterclass. So they're not big in terms of the number of videos. So I should be able to make those in, basically a couple of days each in terms of recording the content. But it's basically going to be a really busy quarter for me to actually get that all out there. And then as we move into the second half of the year, it's going to be more focused on sort of servicing the courses and people who are coming into the Academy that way. But yeah, busy quarter for me, certainly. So in summary then, has anybody got any parting words on how they've gone so far, or anything else they want to just add in before we wrap up? I'll take that as a no. So quarterly goals. It'd be great to hear in the comments how any of you have all been getting on as well. Do reach out and leave us a message to let us know what you feel about quarterly goal setting, if it's something you do or not. And we look forward to reporting back in 3 months' time to let you know how we've all, or at least I, have fallen flat on my face in hitting some of my targets.
You're going to have plenty of company on the sidewalk. Don't you worry. We're very consistent that way as a group.
Thanks for hopping on the Creators Pod. If you enjoyed it, tell a friend. No, seriously, tell somebody, okay? So look, we'd love it if you subscribe and do all the things. Especially leave us a comment somewhere where you get your podcast. Check out our video version on our YouTube channel, The Creators Pod. The Creators Pod is produced by C22 Media. Alec Johnson, Dina Taylor, Keely Dunn, Rich Graham, Rob Vaules, and me, Michelle Lawrence. Deuces.
Record.
You weren't recording?
You record after the clap.
Were you not recording, Keels?
I fucked up.